Wrath of the Lich King Classic is coming, and for millions of players, this was the peak of WoW. With so much at stake, we need to make sure Wrath Classic is a massive success. I've compiled some of the best changes I believe will help to make Wrath of the Lich King Classic as big of a success as possible. The first thing I wanted to talk about is server balance, and if you go on ironforge.pro, you can see all of the data. There are so many imbalanced servers right now. North America and Europe only have a few servers with high populations. Everybody has moved to these enormous servers with a lot of layers. Obviously, people do that because they want to play with more arena partners. They want to raid with top guilds. Well, we need to merge these servers back. Either merge all the servers together or connect the servers similar to Season of Mastery. To give us that open world experience again, we need Alliance and Horde on the same server, seeing each other in the open world. In the same vein, I would love to see those cross-realm and even cross-faction servers. It makes so much sense in the modern day to connect servers, to make it so you can play arenas and battlegrounds and even raids with people from different servers. If I want to play with Stay Safe, for example, I would have to join Pagel, then I have to level a character to max, and then I have to get geared just to play a few games with him. It would make way more sense if I can just invite him from Battle.net and play regardless of what server he's on. The same goes for dungeons, the same goes for raiding, the same goes for every single activity in the game. In today's world, it just makes more sense to be connected. Next up, I wanted to talk about PvP, primarily arenas. The point system in TBC and Wrath doesn't really make sense. You get way more points from doing 5s in arenas than you do from 2s and 3s. That just doesn't make sense. And it punishes people who really want to focus on a particular bracket. You almost have to have a 5s team just to get points. At the same time, the top players will have a 5s team that is such high rating that they can get full gear in a month and a half or even less. And that means even a serious player that's pushing 2s or 3s might be several pieces of gear behind in the arenas. It's just not fair. We need to normalize the point system so that 2s, 3s, and 5s all give relatively similar points. Before we go any further, I wanted to shout out Mateus. He is the catalyst that got all of this started. He had an incredible list of changes on Twitter, a really good document with a bunch of great ideas, some of which are included in this video, to make Wrath the best it can be. He's really passionate about the game, as so many Wrath fans are, and he just wants it to be as great as possible. Alright, so let's get into class balancing. And class balancing in Wrath is going to be hotly debated. The first idea here comes from Mateus, and it's to remove RNG mechanics when possible. An example of this is the Rogue's Cloak of Shadows ability. Has a 90% chance to resist spells during the duration. That sort of mechanic is just frustrating on both sides. The Rogue isn't happy because they can still die during the cloak. The casters are upset because they still have to keep casting on the Rogue. And it just feels bad across the board. Any sort of mechanic like that, just make it 100%. Make things more consistent across the board and less frustrating. Another big PvP change would be to slightly nerf every man for himself, the human racial, which effectively is a PvP trinket without using a trinket slot. That is obviously very broken. Let's say you're on a DPS. You can run an extra DPS trinket and pump 20% more damage than your opponent. It's just going to be completely busted. Every serious PvPer will want to be human, and that just doesn't feel great. One solution I like would be to allow people to use whatever racial they want in PvP. Obviously, that's a very controversial idea, so alternatively, just slightly tweak all the racials to make them more balanced, keep things in line, hopefully at least prevent every single player in the game from going human. Before we get to the biggest Wrath changes that need to be made, please give the video a like. I've been uploading so much Wrath of the Lich King content lately, and there's only going to be more. So go ahead and click on that notification bell as well to be notified when I next upload a Wrath video. Alright, so let's get to it. the changes we need to see when Wrath of the Lich King is released. One big thing I want to see is well thought out phase durations. We need to shorten some of the phases, for example, the Naxx phase. A lot of people are concerned it's going to last too long and people will burn out. Blizzard needs to consult the top Wrath players to figure out optimal lengths for every phase. I also really want to see Wrath not conflict with 10.0. Obviously 10.0 will be huge, but we can't have the Naxx situation all over again where Blizzard releases two big releases at the exact same time and leaves one to die. Wrath is just too great to be left for dead. One thing I just mentioned is the Naxx situation. NOHITJEROME is considered to be relatively easy to complete, and a 4 or 5 month long phase could really burn some players out. One really strong idea that's been floating around is a heroic Naxx. So similar to Season of Mastery, Blizzard could tune up Naxx and give us a more difficult raid as an option with better loot. The next few ideas are most likely going to happen, but are not confirmed to be in. The first idea would be dual spec at launch, which will really inspire and motivate people to collect that second set of gear for maybe an alt spec. If I'm playing Resto Druid, I could also gear up my Feral at the same time, and then be able to easily and freely swap between the specs. Another idea, which a lot of people would be shocked to hear is not in Wrath, would be account-wide achievements. I think account-wide achievements make so much sense in Wrath. They were introduced in Cataclysm, and this just is one of those things, if Blizzard could go back in time, they would have implemented account-wide achievements in Wrath. It's just one of those things that makes the achievement system that much better. It should be in the game. All right, so we've covered all the big changes I want to see in Wrath of the Lich King Classic. I want to know your big change. What do you want to see changed in Wrath Classic? Or are you a purist? Do you not want them to change a single thing? Let us know in the comments below. We can have a great discussion about it. Thanks so much for watching, and remember to have a great day.